A powerful Democrat senator lends her support to New York Socialist Zohran Mamdani as the future of the party.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Zohran Mamdani is New York's best choice for mayor.
I'm Daily Wire executive editor John Bickley. Georgia Howe is off today. It's Wednesday, August 6th, and this is Morning Wire. California Governor Gavin Newsom has jumped into the Texas redistricting fight, promising to wipe out any gains the GOP makes in the Lone Star State.
Whatever they are doing will be neutered here in the state of California, and they will pay that price.
And Oklahoma implements a non-woke pro-America test for teachers moving in from progressive states.
We now have over 1,000 teachers on track to make $100,000 in the classroom for getting exceptional results.
Thanks for waking up with Morning Wire. Stay tuned. We have the news you need to know.
Hey guys, producer Brandon here. I used to think I knew what I was buying at the grocery store until I discovered that over 4 billion pounds of meat were imported into the US last year, and it could still be labeled as a product of the USA. That had me questioning everything. What am I actually feeding my family? That's when I found Good Ranchers. All their meat is 100% American, sourced from local farms and ranches, and delivered right to my door. The difference in quality is incredible. I'm currently on a bit of a carnivore kick, essentially meaning I only eat meat. So take it from me, Good Ranchers are legitimately some of the best steaks I've ever had, plus they are reliably free of stuff that just ought not be in meat. And subscriptions with Good Ranchers have plenty more amazing perks. I get $25 off every order, free shipping, and a free gift for life like their seed oil-free chicken nuggets or Wagyu burgers. Plus, I can pause or delay shipments anytime if I'm traveling or on the road this summer. No stress and no hassle. Right now, you can get an additional $40 off plus free meat for life when you subscribe using our code WIRE. That's WIRE for $40 off and free meat for life at GoodRanchers.com. All American meat, all for you and yours. GoodRanchers.com. Welcome to the table.
While other high-profile Democrats have been keeping New York mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani at arm's length, Senator Elizabeth Warren is backing the self-described Democratic Socialist. Some analysts warn the party's embrace of far-left figures and policies could cost them the 2026 midterms. Here with more is Daily Wire culture reporter Megan Basham. Hey, Megan. So far, a lot of the big names in the Democratic Party, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Kathy Hochul in New York, they're staying pretty quiet about Mamdani. But what is Warren saying?
Well, she's really embracing some of his most provocative policies. Things like rent control, government-controlled grocery stores, massive tax hikes on high earners. Basically, she's making it clear that she agrees with him that the party needs to move further to the left. In fact, this was what she said on the campaign trail over the weekend.
When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans. Real plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver. We're going to experiment. We're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
But as you pointed out, John, the party's senior leadership seems to be trying to put the brakes on this. When CNN asked Cory Booker about Mamdani, he avoided answering the question and said, let New York politics be New York politics. And I think this silence does suggest that Democrats are worried that Mamdani's platform is going to alienate swing voters, as you said, as they approach those midterms. And this was highlighted by a contentious interview that Elizabeth Warren had with CNBC on Monday.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day? Because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford childcare. What Zohran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it? Why is that the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
To his point, you're hearing the party's establishment, like Obama's former Treasury Secretary, Jack Lew, warning that these kinds of tax hikes could drive businesses out of New York.
Right, lots of warnings to that effect. Now, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is also out criticizing her party for not being far enough to the left. How does that play into this division?
Well, I think it just further highlights the difficult position that the Democrats are in. You have some of these, younger candidates really promoting more extreme language, more extreme policies, and it's winning them a lot of coverage and a lot of popularity with maybe younger voters, but it isn't necessarily drawing the moderates. For example, this was Crockett on Sunday.
Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes. He is. But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this. But he's been able to get away with this because the House Republicans are complicit. He's been able to get away with this because Senate Republicans are complicit. But most importantly, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit.
Now, trying to campaign on hating Donald Trump was the exact same thing that the Harris campaign ran on, albeit maybe with a little bit more PG language, and it didn't necessarily pan out for them. And it's also worth remembering that a recent poll in the Wall Street Journal found that the Democrats' popularity is now at a record low. And that's largely because many voters are viewing them as too extreme. So when it comes to those midterms, having Mamdani and Crockett and people like that as the party's poster children, well, that could really push away older, moderate voters in places like Pennsylvania and Arizona, where the Democrats are really going to need to hang on to or pick up some Senate seats.
It's going to be really interesting to see how the party's longtime leaders try to thread this needle of capturing the sort of energy of younger stars without alienating mainstream America. Megan, thanks so much for reporting.
My pleasure.
The arms race to redistrict heats up as the showdown in Texas continues. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom is promising to reshape California to wipe out more Republican seats. Daily Wire reporter Tim Pierce is here to talk about the ongoing fight over redistricting in Texas. Hey, Tim, so what's the latest here?
Well, the action seems to be at a standstill. Democrats haven't relented despite threats and fines, and Republicans have to find out what legal means, if any, they have to force these lawmakers back to Texas. Here's Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton talking about a few options.
Yeah, so one, we got a Supreme Court ruling saying we could arrest these people. So that's an option that the Supreme Court has validated, and that was a pretty important decision. Second, we threw out an opinion talking about this quo warranto where we could potentially take some of these people that are out and take them out of office, remove them from office. It's never been tried, but we think it's a possibility.
As we reported yesterday, arrests likely won't work because Texas warrants can't be enforced in other states. And extradition isn't likely because Democrats fled to blue states.
Right. Now, how long can we expect this to actually continue? We've seen this happen before. How did it play out in the past?
Yeah, last time in 2021, Democrats stayed out of the state for 6 weeks to protest election reforms. Of course, their protest didn't stop anything. Democrats eventually broke and the measure was passed after they returned. But this time around is a bit different. After the last walkout, Texas approved a $500 a day fine for lawmakers who break quorum in case it ever happened again. Well, it's happened, so in addition to the cost of staying out of state, each one of the nearly 60 rogue lawmakers will accrue huge fines as well. Even so, Republicans are pretty irritated at this, and they don't want it to become a common occurrence. So even with the fine, they still want to find a way to force these Democrats back to the legislature. Texas Senator John Cornyn has even written to the FBI for help. And Republicans insist this redistricting is necessary as well. Here's Paxton again.
We have massive population growth over the last 5 years. I think we've gained several million people. We're at 31.3 or 4 million people now. Our population centers have grown. Other parts have not grown as much. And so we don't have fair representation right now because our population has changed and it's increased. And so in states like ours, where things have changed so dramatically, it does make sense to redistrict.
All right, so the argument there is that so much has changed in the state. This really is merited. What about on the other side? What are Democrats saying?
They're in a tough spot. This protest is highly unlikely to be anything more than symbolic. On top of that, the Democrats are also holding up legislation to help flood victims from earlier this year. But Democrats are pushing back, in some cases pretty radically. Here's State Congresswoman Jolanda Jones comparing Texas redistricting to the Holocaust.
I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How was somebody in a position to kill all them people? Well, good people remain silent. Or good people didn't realize that what happens to them can very soon happen to me or somebody I love.
And Texas Democrats are getting some help from the outside as well. Other states such as California, Illinois, and New York are threatening to gerrymander their maps as well if Texas moves forward. Here's California Governor Gavin Newsom.
We'll fight fire with fire, we'll assert ourselves, and we'll punch above our weight, and it will have profound impacts.
President Trump weighed in on those threats from Newsom and other governors on Tuesday.
Well, they'll do it anyway.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, they'll do it anyway. Why? If we stop over there, they would have done it anyway.
So we'll see if the Democrat pressure campaign will work. But some Republicans are confident that no matter what Democrats do, the numbers just aren't on their side here.
Right. They don't have much leverage to work with at this point. Tim, thanks so much for reporting.
Thanks for having me on.
Oklahoma will make teachers from blue states take an America First test before they can step foot in the state's classrooms. The new test aims to make sure teachers who move from blue states don't get the chance to indoctrinate Oklahoma kids with liberal ideologies. Daily Wire reporter Mairead Lordy is here with more. Hey, Mairead. So tell us about this new test for vetting teachers.
Hi, John. Yes, so teachers who move to Oklahoma from liberal states don't just get to start teaching Oklahoma's kids anymore. Starting this school year, they will have to prove that they align with Oklahoma's curriculum standards, which don't allow indoctrination on things like transgender ideology or bashing America. We spoke to Ryan Walters, Oklahoma Superintendent of Public Instruction, about the new test. He said they took action when they saw California's radical curriculum standards, which require instruction about gender identity.
We want good teachers, but we are absolutely not going to take social justice warrior woke indoctrinators into our classrooms. So we started looking at some other states that are doing this as well. These blue states are using schools to indoctrinate our kids, and we will not tolerate those teachers coming into Oklahoma. We need a test to make sure, first of all, what's a woman? This isn't a tough question. It's not a trick question. It's a very easy question. My 4-year-old can answer the question. So we've got to make sure that the teachers coming into the state understand that there is a difference between the genders. There is a difference between, it's biology. It's simple. It's basic. And the second part is, are you coming in to teach a hatred for America? We will not tolerate the anti-Semitism, the anti-Americanism that we've seen being pushed by blue states. Our parents have been crystal clear. They want their kids to get a patriotic education. They want their kids to understand how America became the greatest country in the history of the world.
Besides California, Maine and New York also have left-leaning curriculum standards that Oklahoma opposes, Walters said. And by the way, Oklahoma is working with PragerU on developing the test. The two have worked together in the past to develop patriotic history curriculum content.
Right, and I should note that PragerU is an organization the Daily Wire partners with. So give us some more details about the test itself. What have you learned?
Yes, well, Walters actually went into some detail about that as well.
It's a written test. It's pass or fail. What you're going to have to be able to identify is the biological differences between men and women. It's not overly complicated. And then an understanding of the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. Very similar to the civics test that we require of all teachers. And so we need reading, writing, math, history, science. Absolutely. But you know what else? We have to have an understanding of what is America? How does the form of government work? Why did the founders set it up that way? What is American exceptionalism? What are those core fundamental principles and values? Every teacher has to know those to teach in the state of Oklahoma, and we're going to hold the line against left-wing indoctrinators.
Walters also said that not only is Oklahoma working to recruit the top 10% of teachers in the country, they're putting teachers on track for merit pay, and they now have over 1,000 teachers on track to make $100,000 for getting exceptional results.
We are bringing the free market to the classroom. The free market principles work in every sector it's ever been instituted in. The teachers and the teachers union, the classrooms, the education system have been socialist for decades now. We're saying no, it will be a free market environment. We value student outcomes. When kids are inspired, when they understand the American dream, when they see it through American history, what it's done, not only what we've done for our citizens, but look at the impact we've had on the world around us. It is inspiring students. It lifts their spirits. It gives them hope. It gives them that bright future. So absolutely, we are focused on outcomes, and we're focused on creating patriotic Americans.
One member of Oklahoma's Board of Education criticized the test, arguing that teachers' contracts already require them to align with Oklahoma's curriculum standards. But Walters thinks the precaution of a test is still necessary.
Yeah, understandable given how far left some of these blue state standards are now. Mairead, thanks so much for reporting.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for waking up with us. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back this evening with more news you need to know.
If you run a small business, you know there's nothing small about it. Even the smallest decisions can feel massive. That's where Shopify comes in. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world, from household names to brands that are just getting started. You can tackle all the important tasks all in one place, from inventory to payments to analytics and more. Even marketing becomes a breeze thanks to their built-in tools for running social media and email campaigns, helping you find new customers and keep them coming back. Plus, Shopify's global selling tools have you covered internationally in over 150 countries, and their award-winning point of sale connects your online and offline sales all in the same place. With an impressive 99.99 uptime and the highest converting checkout experience on the planet, you'll never miss another sale. That's the Shopify advantage. Get all the big stuff for your small business right with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period and start selling today at shopify.com/morningwire. Head over to shopify.com/morningwire. Again, that's shopify.com/morningwire.